Hi, this is Sarah with The Next Great Musician, sitting here with Christie Lenee. So, Christie, you are a singer-songwriter. What instruments have you used in that path?
In the path, well, I started on piano and it was sort of like a hobby for me. I was really into acting. And then I discovered the guitar and got really into that about the age of 13. And now I explore as many instruments as possible because they're all elements of composition that can be utilized for, an idea for a piano or an idea for a drum beat, and then having those elements in mind helps me to envision the bigger picture. So I like to play as many instruments as possible, but mostly guitar. Something that Victor Wooten said, who's one of my favorite musicians, he said that he's not a bass player, he's a musician. And so it's funny because he's probably, in my eyes, one of the best bass players that's ever lived. And he doesn't consider himself a bass player. He considers himself a musician, because I feel like it's so true that you can use any instrument as an avenue to take yourself to the next level of composing a song or playing a solo over something. I mean, if you could do it on bass, you could do it on guitar, and or whatever instrument you want, because it's a language.
Let it come, let it come, let it come, let it come.
Is there a difference between, like, say, a musician and an artist?
Well, I would say that they're both integrated, but a musician becomes an artist through creating their own work, and not even necessarily their own songs, but even from somebody who plays jazz, who can improvise. That's art in a way. So, but also creating your own music, to me, is being an artist. So. For a long time, I wanted to be an actress, and I loved movies and Broadway shows, and that was my thing. I loved to be on stage, and I was actually in this entertainment group called the Entertainment Review. I remember my very first time on stage, I was singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." I was 5 years old, and the Cincinnati Reds were having this banquet, and I sang the "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and it was the most incredible feeling for me to feel people clapping and just feel the energy of people loving what I was doing. And I didn't want to leave the stage. The girls from the Entertainment Review had to come and take me off stage. And it became this whole thing where at the end of every show, I wouldn't leave the stage. I just wanted to keep bowing and waving. And that feeling, I've felt it since the very first time on stage. And I feel it every time, whether it's performing for myself or one person or hundreds of people, or whatever the case may be. The purpose of it is still the same. It's about the love of music and the art that's being expressed, and that to me is something that I think for every singer, every musician, if you always hold on to that, then you know that you're doing the right thing, because it's something that's blooming inside of you, and for other people to experience it too is an amazing gift. But I'm really thrilled to be able to experience that and share it with others. But also knowing that no matter where I go, it's always for the same reason. It's just to express myself.
And do you find that it's different as a solo or with a group, or is it the same?
It's a really interesting question. I love both, and I feel like they're very different in a way. Being spontaneous is something really interesting about playing solo. To go to a show and have no idea what I'm going to play, no set list, practically improvise a piece of a song on stage, that is something really amazing to me, and it's hard to do that with a group. With a group, you can also work on like a whole production of something that's really organized and it's, you know, worked on for a long time, even if it's choreographed or, you know, lighting and dances and stuff. You know, that's a whole other element. So, I mean, for me as an artist, I want to be able to do both always.
So, Christie, tell me about some of the opportunities that have come your way that have helped you get where you are today.
All right, well, when I first started performing, I wanted to share my own music, and I started out playing in coffee houses, and I actually started to put myself into places where I thought I could network, you know, like meeting other musicians, going to concerts. I took these promotional CDs that I just burned at home, and you know those little mailer stickers.
Mm-hmm.
I got the mailer stickers with my name and website, and put a flyer for a show in there. And I'd go to, like, for example, Dave Matthews or Keller Williams or Ani DeFranco concerts or whoever it may be, and I'd give out these CDs. And I've actually met a lot of people who come to my shows who say, hey, you know, I discovered your music because you gave me a CD at a Keller Williams concert like 5 years ago. Also trying to get myself in front of artists that I respect. I had a really amazing manager for a couple years who gave me the opportunity to open for several artists who I really respect, such as Tim Reynolds and Jeff Coffin, and O'Teal from the Allman Brothers, bass player from the Allman, Marty Ballin from Jefferson Airplane, just a lot of amazing people. And one thing that was really important for me during those experiences was to know that this isn't a one-time thing. You know, when you get an opportunity, you definitely want to present yourself in that opportunity, but to know that that is only the start for an entire path. And so what I did is I made sure to follow up with all of those people and continue working in those connections. And since then, I actually have played on stage with Tim Reynolds a few times, and I've gotten to jam with him and play with his band TR3. That's amazing. Jeff Coffin just recorded on one of that song Give and Taken we were talking about earlier. He recorded on that song.
I hold the doors to my mind open, reveal my thoughts to the world, oh, give and take it. Here is a map of my heart open.
I'm a big fan of balance. And before a show, I like to do some yoga and meditate a little bit, do some deep breathing, and just get grounded. You know, find the center place of where music is created. And for me, that is it's an internal thing. And you know, as I was saying, allowing that to be expressed is something beautiful. And so I always try to do something before a show that's gonna get me really relaxed and, you know, just breathe, maybe be outside for a minute, close my eyes, and just imagine that feeling again, you know, just relive that experience of being on stage and having people just reflect this energy and experience it. And if I put myself in that place when I close my eyes, I'm reminded of what, you know, has been continuing to drive me to where I am now.
My name is Nick. I'm here at Mr. Dunderbox. This place is rocking. We just had Christie Lenee here on the stage.
She's a great musician and great teacher, and she's just really good.
Amazing creativity, just constantly creating new music.
I think she is one of the most brilliant young ladies that I've ever heard on a guitar.
I can't wait till the next time that Christie gets here.
What would people expect to experience at a Christie Lenee show?
Always a lot of energy and passion, and for a solo show, definitely a new song, always at least one. I'm constantly writing new songs and rediscovering old ones as well, trying to do different things with it. I love consistency of specific songs, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan of being able to take something that's already been created and just like bring it to a new level, you know. My experience with writing is sometimes it starts with the guitar and hearing a melody or a lyrical idea, or most of the time it's a concept. Like for the title track of my new CD I'm working on, Daylight Comes, it's about knowing that every day when you wake up, anything that's happened in the past that could have brought somebody down or anything, all of those things, we can move on from it, and it's this new light and this new experience each day. It's like that first breath in the morning, knowing that we're starting fresh. And so when I write a song, particularly that one, that was more about the concept. But other songs might start with a melody, or hearing something in my head and then putting words to it. I mean, there's not one formula. It's whatever works, you know, whatever feels right.
How would you describe your music, your musical style, especially for people who've never heard you before?
You know, it's interesting because we started talking about this a little bit earlier, and I was saying that I feel like language to describe something so powerful like music for me is such a part of who I am that to describe it in a few words is so limiting. But if I were to try to put like a genre to it, I would say it's like funky, folky, progressive acoustic, percussive songs that are uplifting and
Hyphens in that.
But that's yeah. See, this could be a novel, and I'm trying to condense it. But I think it's stylistically it crosses a lot of genres. I studied classical music and jazz, and I'm a huge fan of rock and drums, even like Latin drums. I love drumming on the guitar, and I don't know what to call that, if it's like percussive acoustic guitar or...
You could coin the phrase right now.
Okay, percussive acoustic guitar, sure. But then that's also limiting because I like playing the electric guitar too. So I think that it's one of those things that you have to experience, you know. It's like trying to describe what it feels like to go skydiving. You know, it's like, oh wow, you can feel the wind and you see everything, but there's nothing like skydiving, you know. And it's the same thing for me with playing music. And how do I describe that to anybody? They can have their own way. So the experience, come to a show and
Well
then
done.
tell me what it sounds like to you. I don't know.
You studied rock and jazz and all that, did you study just like you in your room? Did you go to, did you have classes? What was your musical education?
I locked myself in my room and didn't talk to anybody. I'm just kidding. Actually, in my freshman year of high school, I went to Blake High School in Tampa, Florida, and I was actually an acting major, and I approached the school with the idea of having a career in acting, and then realized that classical guitar is one of the most incredible things in the face of the earth, in my perspective. I went to a classical guitar concert, and then I ended up changing my major. I studied classical guitar exclusively for 3 years, and yes, I did have a lot of time in my room practicing over and over to a metronome, the same classical piece, and knowing, and I actually had these really ambitious goals, and I still do, but they're always, and that's the thing with goals, it's like, you can have a goal, but there's never one, because once you reach that, there's always something else, and there's always the next thing that we're reaching for, and that's, I think, really important for an artist to know. So, while I was studying classical guitar, there was specific pieces that I really wanted to learn, and I knew that if I learned those pieces, they would make me a better musician. But once I learned that, then I was like, okay, so now I'm going to study jazz and learn how to improvise, and I'm still learning how to do all of those things, and it's like an eternal journey, but it's really, I think that's why I love music, because it's ongoing and there's always more to learn. Music is part of my daily life, but there's a lot more to it than just the music. It's social networking and booking gigs and planning travel and all of that stuff, which eventually a whole team of people can completely take over. But I've talked to a lot of people about that who have been very successful and who do have a team of people behind them. And one of the most important things that they've told me is that even when you have an entire team of people that is taking the reins on that, you still have to run the game and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. A huge thing is building a local following, planting a seed in your home base, building a following where you know that every time you do a show, you will have people there. And once you have that, then you know that you can say, hey, this band in LA or whatever, come and open for me in Tampa, and I'll come open for you in LA. And then you can book other shows along on that, or even do a whole bunch of shows. When I opened for Tim Reynolds in Tampa, that was huge, because there were so many people that had heard me and it's similar music. So, but had I just sat there and been like, hey, nice to meet you, yeah, I'm a musician, that would have never happened. I said, hey, here's my contact info, here's my CD, let's get in touch. So it's like taking that extra step to network, to get to play with the people you want to play with, and really put yourself out there. Like I said, you can't sit around and wait for it. You got to go out and get it. So that's a big part of the whole process, I think.
So that doesn't leave much time for a day job. Do you rely solely on your music?
Well, I teach guitar lessons, guitar, bass, and actually mandolin now. A little bit of singing, songwriting, depends on the needs of the student. But teaching for me is so inspiring, because it's like you're teaching and relearning all over again. I'm living in Philadelphia now, and doing shows throughout the Northeast. There's a whole community of states around there, and a lot of places to play, and then all throughout Florida. And so I started out in Florida, and now I'm planting a bunch of seeds in the Northeast, and filling in the gaps in between gradually, and so I want to cover the whole East Coast. And I did live in Taiwan for 9 months and traveled around there, which was amazing. But I definitely look forward to going to some other countries and playing festivals, which is a big thing that I want to focus on, is festivals and community-based organizations, such as I just did a canned food drive for Phil Abundance, which is a company in Philadelphia that feeds up to 65,000 people per week, and so I did this huge benefit concert for them. And part of what I want to do with my path in the career is not only focus on just the music, but also everybody else, and how to connect with all of those people worldwide. So that's part of it.
Do you have any advice for up-and-coming singer-songwriters?
Up-and-coming singer-songwriters, absolutely. Follow your heart, love what you do, and remind yourself every day why you do it. And it's more for me about the purpose of expression, and music is a language. So if you approach it as a language and continue to speak and interact with people who are really advanced in that language, always finding people that can help you grow, then it's a really amazing thing. So if I were to give anybody advice, it would be surround yourself with music or art or dance or whatever it is that you're passionate about.
Speaking of surrounding yourself with other musicians or like-minded individuals, how have you found that, like the internet, social media, all of that, how has that helped you, being surrounded by the world?
It's really amazing because I feel like as an artist, there's so much I can learn from social media. Social networking and media to me is like a community on the internet. It's like people are sharing their art with each other, and they're able to experience what other people are doing. And so we're all learning and in this together. So I feel like there's a lot that people can get out of it, and making things that they've created, videos or MP3s or whatever, putting them on the internet so that they can spread around and people can discover them, through keywords. And the more websites you have your stuff on, the more people can find it. It's like being on 20 television shows. People are bound to find you. With the next great singer, the next great musician, I feel like it's brilliant because it's more filtered through people who are really truly lovers of music and are there because they want to have that experience. They want to discover something. As I want to go there and discover it, I hope other people will come and discover what I'm doing, and maybe they'll learn something too. So we'll see. Power in really focusing on what you want, and I think a lot of people can learn from that, even if it's not in the context of the music. If it's anything, if you really focus and believe that that's actually happening, then it will. So I have a lot of faith in that.